Well, we're moving on to relationships now for a moment. So many people stay in a relationship long after they should, feeling that it is better to be with someone than to be alone. So here to talk about the fear of breaking up and what to do about it is our relationship expert, Dr. Karyn Gordon. Thank you, Angela. Thank you. Okay. I feel like this might be a tricky one for a lot of people, and maybe a sensitive topic area.
So sensitive.
Right? People do not like having their relationships picked apart.
That's right.
But this is worth talking about, and let's start with some of the research.
Yeah, so this is fun. So this is a fun topic. So whether or not you're in a relationship, or you may have a niece, nephew, son or daughter, right, going, oh, I really wish that they were not with that person. So this is a good segment for you maybe to sit down and watch. So the research is really interesting. So University of Toronto basically found that people who are afraid of being single tend to kind of put up with more stuff. They tend to lower their standards.
They settle?
They settle. Okay, and which is kind of makes sense. And the other really interesting thing is 85% of relationships will break up.
Okay.
85.
So you don't just stay in dating mode forever.
That's
it's
right.
Either you go down the road of marriage.
That's right.
Or it doesn't work.
Or you break up.
You break up.
You break up. So this is a fun topic. It's actually called FOBU. I did not call it that name. Somebody came up with that name, FOBU. It's called fear of breaking up.
Okay.
Fear of breaking up.
Everything's got an acronym now, right?
And it was funny because when I was actually putting the content, I was thinking, did I ever have fear of breaking up? I didn't have that. I had fear of commitment. We need to do a show on fear of commitment.
Yeah, that's true. I've stayed with a few people longer than I should have, and known that I was with them this has run its course.
Yes.
And here I still am.
Yes.
Right?
So you can probably connect to this. For parts of it.
Parts of it. It's also a comfort level.
Absolutely.
I could have been single, but I was like, nah, it's better with you here.
Right.
So let's just keep it rolling.
Yeah, we'll just kind of keep it rolling.
Let's just keep it rolling.
Yeah. So part of it is you want to kind of figure out, why do people stay stuck?
Okay.
Right? Like intuitively, I think a lot of people are like, yeah, but why? Why do they actually stay stuck? So here are the most popular reasons I hear, and you actually just said a couple of them. The first one is that it's familiar. There's something that's very, it's like kind of a blanket. It's like it's familiar. We know it's not maybe the best thing for us, but it's, I'd rather kind of stay with what I know than with what I don't know.
Right.
So, familiar is very comforting, even when we know it's probably not the best.
Yep.
Afraid to be alone. One of the things I really try when I'm coaching at our practice, couples or actually with teenagers, is to differentiate between need and want.
Right.
Does somebody need a partner, or do they want a partner?
Okay.
Okay, so a lot of people may want a partner, but you don't want them to need a partner. It's almost like your identity is kind of based on somebody else.
That's right.
So, right?
It has to be sort of added gravy, a bonus.
You got it.
It's not a need,
the relationship isn't gravy. Tell them the next time you go on the date, you are my gravy.
You're my gravy.
You're my gravy. You're my gravy.
Compliment.
It is a compliment. It's a compliment. The other one is actually a strong social group together. So a lot of people, they'll stay together because they've got a lot of the same friends. They're like, it's a social thing, which is actually really important. A lot of times they'll say, well, I don't want to date anybody. Like, there's nobody else I really see. There's like, yeah, you're kind of like the best that there is.
Right.
Isn't that like depressing? It's kind of like, let's lower the standards.
I'll take you.
You're kind of like, you're all that I have.
Right.
Sometimes it's financially better if people are living together, for sure, right? In terms of putting the resources together. And then also, this is another thing I'm seeing, certainly with the younger generation, is the status.
Oh, of being in a relationship.
There is something, it's amazing how many conversations I will have with people, and they'll say, well, I've got a boyfriend. It's kind of like, and even think about all the celebrity stories that we see. People break up and boom, they've got a partner right away. It's almost like that there's something wrong with being single.
Your worth is tied up in it.
Absolutely. And so there's a status, unfortunately, that people a lot of times kind of attach to. So those are reasons why. So then we kind of want to go into how to kind of move forward.
So how do you move forward with it? You're saying the first thing to do is actually to stop and think about what you're doing in your relationship. Do an audit.
To do an audit. One of my favorite questions I love asking clients is, I want you to think about what are your top 10 qualities you're looking for in a partner. What are the top 10? And then get them to write them all out, and then I get them to prioritize. What are the ones that are the non-negotiables, and which ones are like, I'd love it if they have it, but it's not a deal breaker. And it's a really interesting process, because all of a sudden people start writing, it's like, wow, my partner, the boyfriend that I have doesn't really match any of these qualities, or maybe they match a lot more.
Yes.
But all of a sudden, the eyes start getting a little bit wider and a little bit more clear, because we have to know what is it we want versus a lot. A lot of times the dating, it's very passive. Right? It's kind of like
letting it go along.
Like letting it go. It's kind of flowing. And it's a lot much more reactive. We want to be much more proactive and be really careful about our choices. So that's the first one.
Okay. The second one I feel like is a toughie.
Yes, it is a toughie.
What's the second
tip?
So
the second one is ask your trusted trusted advisors, friends, colleagues, people, and here's the very important piece, people that you think give good advice.
Yes.
Not just anybody.
Not just people that you think are going to want to like get a jab in there.
Yes, that's right.
Sabotage
you
things,
got
but
it.
people that you really, your trusted advisors.
Yes.
Tell them to look at your relationship.
Yes. And say, you know, I would like to, I'm just trying to look at my relationship a little bit differently from a different lens, and I would love to know what are your thoughts? What do you think are the strengths? What do you think are their weaknesses?
Yeah.
Do not make decisions based with what they say. That's, you know, otherwise you're kind of becoming codependent. But there is something powerful about blind spots.
Right.
Like we all have them. I have them, you have, like everyone's got blind spots. So when and the reality is a lot of times we will see as friends and family members, we will see things that are like, ooh, that's concerning. But a lot of us we hesitate to share that thought, that insight, because we don't want to hurt somebody's feelings.
Yeah, that's part of it. And part of it is that I think that you actually see it too, but you're just okay with it.
Yes.
You know what?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yes.
me bringing it up, like it's basically just going to hurt my relationship with you because you're already aware of it, but you're okay with it.
Yeah, and it's sometimes, that's possible for sure.
Yeah.
And the thing about also the blind spots too is that it's sometimes we can like settle for like the things that people bring up are like, yeah, I know, I'm aware of that, but that's okay. Or maybe they are bringing things up that we're not aware of.
Maybe.
You know, and it's scary. It can go both ways.
Right.
So that's a really important thing. And then the last tip, and this is so important,
Essential.
to be happy with yourself first.
Right.
People will say, oh, that person is making me happy. No, that person is not making you happy. We are all responsible for our own happiness.
That's where it starts.
That's where it starts. And so when you think about a thriving relationship, you have two happy, healthy people coming together, two whole people, not two half people.
That's right. Oh, good advice.
All right,
no
there you go.
FOBO.